going on, hobby family? It is your boy K-Dub, and this is K-Dub's High Five rapid fire questions with your favorite hobby faces. And today we bring in one of my YouTube hobby favorites. He's the host of the Hobby Talk Live. He's got one of the best voices in the hobby. He's a sports card content creator. This is my good friend Carlos, because I'm Carlos on YouTube and Instagram. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. I'm going to try to match your energy, but it ain't happening. I got the coffee going. I'll see what I can do.
Well, we'll see what we can do, man. I teach middle school students, so I got to bring the energy anytime I'm on the screen. So how this works is I got 5 questions, all hobby related. I'm going to throw them at you one right after another. Ready to take on the high five?
Let's go.
All right, man. For those that don't know you, because I'm Carlos on YouTube and Instagram, how would you describe who you are in the sports card community? Or what do you feel like your role is when it comes to the sports card hobby community?
Yeah, it's a commentary with a little bit of a little bit of a glance, a little bit of a side eye, a little bit having a little bit of fun with it, not taking it too seriously. But we'll talk about some serious stuff, and we'll have a little bit of fun with the hobby establishment, and also a little bit of the companies and a little bit of the people in it who try to take it a little bit too seriously.
Absolutely. And how did Because I'm Carlos, sports card content creator, kind of come to be when it comes to YouTube?
So a lot of that came from I've been collecting since 1990. I never really took any time off. University was the only time that I took a little bit of a slowdown. But what that meant was by that point we had eBay. So at that point I'm trolling on the weekends a little bit, buying a card here or there, get it sent over to the house, and then when I go visit the house, I got a stack of envelopes waiting for me.
Yeah.
So that was my break. I would still get stuff, but it would just slow down. Beer money takes precedence. We got to focus our attention where it needs to be. But the rest of the time I was around. So I was around the end of the boom, the last boom. Yeah. And then all through the dead period is like, well, I was still buying stuff. I was still collecting. It was still, I was going to card shows and we were doing our thing. But and then obviously, the rise of the current boom. I actually started the sports card thing on YouTube back in 2018, which is still before that most recent run up. So I kind of good timing, I guess. I got back into it. But by that point, I kind of found what I wanted to do, which is something's happening. I'll talk through it a little bit. I want to say my piece, and then, people like it or don't like it, or they got their own opinions. We'll chat about it. That's usually how it plays out.
Absolutely. And starting in 2018, that's kind of pre sports card influencers, sports card content creators. So I'm sure you kind of were able to create your own community before the sports card community was even kind of booming on YouTube.
Yeah, beat them by a little bit. Some of those guys started cropping up in 2019. It's like, I beat you by a couple of months. I just beat you. Just got to the front line.
Oh, awesome. Well, hey, man, you said that you collected in the 90s. Let's talk a little bit about kind of who were your sports card collecting influences in your life.
There weren't a lot of them. Because where I was, my friends collected. So it's one of those things where during that time period, it was good. And then when we were attending card shows and stuff, some of them would go and do that. A lot of it was just kind of me doing my own thing, because I collected, even in Canada, I collected baseball first. Baseball is my favorite sport. It was my first sport that I enjoyed collecting. So it's one of those things where I'm opening packs and boxes of baseball a little bit here and there. But mostly I was getting those little, when you started collecting as a kid, you get those little collector kits. The ones with the binder and the pages. And that's basically what I was weaned on. That's what I started with. And my dad doesn't even like the sports stuff, but he's like, yeah, I'll get you some packs. No problem. So he'd get the packs. And if you did your chores and you did your stuff, you get some packs. And that's basically how we rolled. And and he'd take me to the card show. Again, he doesn't care about the stuff. But to his credit, Carlos Sr. would be like, yeah, all right, we'll go. I'll take you to the thing and go do your thing. And don't spend all the money. That's basically the rule.
Absolutely. I got a similar connection with my dad. My dad didn't collect sports cards. He loved sports, but kind of that same thing. He found me getting into the sports card, so he'd be the one to take me to the card shop on Saturday mornings with no interest in cards, but definitely enjoyed watching me. But as you think about kind of your getting into the sports card content creation on YouTube, do you feel like you have any influences there? Were there any people who kind of directed your channel in that idea?
Indirectly. So the way I'll answer your question, I watched some of the stuff that was on there. I did enjoy some of the breakers, and I think I watched one of your recent episodes. Might have been the last episode you did. Packer Cards 87. I enjoyed him, again, unique style of his delivery and his opening packs and everything. But it wasn't something I dabbled in that a little bit in the early videos. They're still there. They're not very good. But the thing is, I wasn't going to match that energy or the style that he was going to do it. I did enjoy that aspect, and I still enjoy watching some of the breaker stuff, but it's not what I do. But it was one of those things when I listened to some of the other folks, especially when we started getting into the influencers a little bit and some of that stuff, it was like, yeah, I'm going to do my thing. I'd rather do it my way. It's more like anti-influence. It's like, yeah, I'm watching what you're doing. I want to do kind of the opposite of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, that's great. Well, let's talk a little bit about collecting for you.
Mhm.
When you think about like the card or the item for your collection, is there a Grail card out there for because I'm Carlos?
Yeah. So the Grails, fortunately for me, I've been able to get them. The
Okay.
Rails were, for my current guys, I have like some of the one of one, like in the hockey world, the logo man, so to speak, is the shield card. I wanted to
Okay.
get one of those, got that. Uh, I do collect a little bit of vintage as well. And for me, the 50s Manals were the big ones. And I got myself a near complete run of the Bowman and Tops Manals, missing the 52 Tops, obviously the biggie,
Yes.
and the 51 Bowman rookie. So
Okay.
those were the two that I was missing in that run, but I got all the rest of them. 56 Tops is my personal favorite. Still have it because it's part of my set. Love that. And the 53 Tops is my favorite looking mantle.
Yeah.
But if there's like a single Grail card, that was the one because that was when I got the magazine and I saw the color pictures of them.
Oh yeah.
That painting in the 53 Tops is my favorite. So
Mm.
it's probably one of my favorite cards in the collection because it's just aesthetically a beautiful card.
And is there a connection to Mickey Mantle, or just like the history of sports cards? Mickey Mantle is kind of the big name.
Baseball fan, if you're a baseball fan and you like the history of baseball, he was one of the goats in the golden era in the 50s where a lot of these guys came up. Obviously you had Ruth and the guys before that came before. You respect the history of it, but in that golden period, the poster guy, one of the big guys was Mantle.
Absolutely. And really, when it comes to baseball cards, I mean, Ruth and those guys, they have minimal cards. I mean, Mantle was when baseball cards kind of became, a thing to have. So
Yeah.
very cool. All right, well, let's talk about product. You said
Mhm.
you ripped a little bit of
A
boxes,
little
but
bit.
you got all the money in the world. You can rip any box you want. What box are you going to grab to rip, and why?
I'll give you two. One for
Okay.
nostalgia and one that would just be this is a money is no object. So I want to give it a go. First one, even though like baseball, I enjoyed a lot of the products, but 97, 98 was my favorite year of like products that came out.
Okay.
And I was collecting some of my hockey guys, 97, 98, Pinnacle totally certified because
Okay.
the design of those cards is actually a lot of fun. You like your technology, the shine on those cards. Every
Yes.
single one of those cards is serial numbered, all of them, even the base cards. All the parallels are base numbered, and you've got the golds and the platinum golds. So I have it
Mm.
for my guy. That's one of the key cards in his PC for me. And there was two versions of it. There was numbered to 69 and numbered to 30. And I
Okay.
think for the 30 you had to send for it, but you could get the number to 69, which is a beautiful looking card. Super difficult to come by, but every single card was serial numbered, and they all look fantastic. Even the base cards look glorious.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the nostalgic one.
Okay.
The money is no object. You're going to do whatever. 52 Tops high number. You got to take a shot to pull the mantle. You got to try.
Oh,
It's,
absolutely.
that's the only way you're going to do it. You know what series it's in, and you got the Eddie Matthews rookie is in that high series.
Okay.
You got the Jackie Robinsons in that high series. So they're all-time greats and goats in that series. Money's no object. Let me open one of those.
Oh, I like it, man. I'm all about it. So I love the two answers too: the nostalgia, and then the
Yeah,
little bit of an investment piece on that.
yeah.
But also the beauty of ripping one of those players would be amazing. So,
Mhm.
um, as you kind of said, last question here. As
Yeah.
you kind of said, you kind of bring a different perspective, a different outlook when it comes to the hobby. But as you look at the hobby kind of moving forward, what things in your mind kind of get spinning as far as excitement goes? Like, what are you looking forward to as the hobby moves from 2023 into 2024?
Yeah, Fanatics and Panini. Like
Yeah.
it's very timely, it's very current. Like their battle is going to have a is going to have something to say about what the next generation of the collecting looks like because they're fighting over a license that's going to last 10 to 20 years depending on the sport.
Yeah.
So Fanatics is going to have their piece of the pie. The question is, does Panini go down without a fight? Well, they're fighting, but the
Yeah.
question is, does that fight lead to anything for them? Do they hang around? Do they do unlicensed? So as a collector, it's not going to really affect what I do. Like, especially the old cards, like that's not going to affect any of that.
For sure.
I still care about the new cards though, and I'm still interested in what happens. So what they're doing is going to be relevant to what happens going forward and how people treat the hobby, depending on what it is they do.
Yeah. And let's go best case, worst case, in your opinion. What's best case scenario in this? And what's worst case scenario in this?
Best case scenario is that Fanatics figures out some way of getting Panini out of the way because I don't think Panini they can make a licensed cards if they want to, but I don't think they're going to be able to hang on to any kind of a partial license or anything. I think Fanatics wants the whole pie or none at all.
Mm,
I think the likely scenario is they will fight for it,
yeah.
and if they manage to get their hands on it, I'm not going to say the product's going to be good or bad. I don't know. Um, but I think it's going to change a lot of things, because if they end up just getting the licenses, then they're not going to, all of a sudden your prisms and your optics and all the Panini stuff might just go away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm with you. It's definitely going to be an interesting kind of rest of the year going into 2024, as kind of this big takeover is expected to happen. So,
Yeah. So that's the best case scenario, is they get it over with, figure out
yeah.
something. The worst case scenario, to answer the other half of your question,
Oh
is
yeah,
worst case scenario is it drags out for a while. We don't get any certainty. People don't like uncertainty. And in
absolutely.
the meantime, you've got these products that are kind of wishy-washy, and Fanatics has ownership stake in one of the printers. So what do you think happens if in the middle of dragging out this war, they just stall the printing lines?
Yeah.
That war becomes an all-out war. I'm a history major. So all
Yeah.
of a sudden, so if we're talking about history major, you're talking about the world wars. That's a total war. Everybody's affected. You're collateral damage, even though you have nothing to do with it. You're sitting on the sidelines watching, and the bombs are still going off. The shrapnel still hits you, even though you're kind of sitting on the sideline.
Oh man, I think we may have just found the title of this video: "The Hobby World War."
But that's what it is right now. It is a total war. You've got two companies. Panini is out in Europe. They're in Italy. So
Mm,
you're talking about Panini America, which is a slice of this bigger pie. Panini is
yeah.
not a small company,
Cool.
but Fanatics is also a gigantic company that is also international. So they're both kind of fighting on all fronts. And it's like, as an observer, a person who likes to comment on and has a live stream and spends time talking about this, guess what? Good news is I always talk about the content gods. Well, the content gods are giving a bounty. I praise the content gods for all they're handing over to us.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, hey, let me throw a bonus question out here, because you just mentioned the content. If you were to give like a couple pieces of advice for anyone who's maybe tuning into this, and they're new to the sports card content creation, like what pieces of
Sure.
advice would you give to someone who's just getting going in this YouTube piece?
Patience.
Okay.
It's very similar to, I think, a lot of people would tell you. The first couple of videos or whatever you're going to do, it's all going to suck.
Mm,
It's not even necessarily the fault of your own. It is weird talking into a camera into a void,
yeah.
and you don't know who's on the other side. And it takes a while. Like, I can go to the early live streams, I can go to the early video. Nobody was watching. The good
Mm,
news is that means you can try stuff. It means that the good news is, you're not going to hear it. Now, the more people see it, the more people are going to be happy to tell you what you did wrong, what you said wrong, or or how it looked, or whatever the case may be. So
absolutely.
enjoy the early time when you actually get to experiment. You get to try out and figure out what works for you. The box breaking thing did not work for me. It was terrible, and I will never do it again intentionally. I'll open a box here or there, but
For
I'm not
sure.
going to make it. It's not going to be the thing. I'm not going to be Packer Card 87. That's his job. He can do that. He's way better at it than I am. But I can do what I do better than he
Mhm.
can. So it's
Absolutely.
figuring out what that thing is.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And I love that it kind of resonates with me as well. Kind of that patience piece of and in this time there's the importance of kind of trying to figure out who you are, trying to figure out your personality, trying to figure out your style. So I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Hey man, cleared the list, man. Good work. We got a high five. Throw it up at the
High
end of
five. Yep.
the high five. You can follow Carlos on YouTube, because I'm Carlos, also on Instagram, because underscore I'm underscore Carlos. Did I get that right?
I think that's right, and it tells you something that I have to think about it. It probably wasn't the best handle choice, but it is what it is.
Fair enough. Sub to the YouTube channel, because I'm Carlos. Also, if you're bored, you can subscribe. DizzyDub1. Also, follow me on Twitter at Mr. KDub. Shout out to our high five endorsers this season: Buck City Breaks and Rack of the Day, Eric Hecker. Always remember, my friends, be the good. Carlos, man, this was great. I really enjoyed talking with you, and I enjoy your content. So keep doing it, man. I look forward to see what the hobby gods give you next.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, y'all take care. We'll see you next time on the next high five.